How to build a massive investor network and raise millions of dollars in capital without wasting months going to networking events, meetups, and talking to people who will never invest. This is the question that I'll be answering over the next couple of minutes. I'm going to go fast, so make sure you pay attention. And I'm going to be going over the 4-step capital raising networking system that we use at Million Network Automation to help multifamily real estate investors who are looking to take down big commercial deals that are 30 units or more, and who need to be able to raise more than $1 million on a consistent basis, reliably, with a proven system. So I'm going to go fast. Make sure you pay attention. Let's get started. First of all, let's start with the capital raising strategies that don't work. Number one, friends and family, going to networking events and meetups, and hosting your own events. With friends and family, the reason this doesn't work is because it is very easy to tap out your network of friends and family. And once you do, you'll have to get out of it and build an actual investor network. Your friends and family will doubt you, reject you, and make fun of you. At least that's the feedback that I've gotten from speaking to dozens of multifamily real estate investors. And it is not enough. So any commercial multifamily real estate investor who's looking to take down big commercial deals and needs to raise millions of dollars in capital will tap out of their network really easily, and it won't be enough. So you might as well start building an actual investor network from the beginning. Let me tell you about networking events and meetups. So you'll waste a lot of time, energy, and money. It will constantly require for you to travel, stay in hotels, airplanes, and be away from your family. And you will network with people and feel good, but you won't generate repeatable results consistently. You'll end up with a pile of business cards from a bunch of people who will never invest. And there's no systematic or consistent way of doing this reliably in a way that will generate consistent results. What you need is a new way of networking. Networking works and is the foundation of raising capital, but just like everything, it has changed. Cars now drive themselves, rockets go up to space, come back and land, and AI can write a book about your life in 5 seconds. So everything has changed, and the way we network has also changed. And this is why you need to use the new way of networking, which I call digital networking. You need to have a consistent, reliable, and repeatable system that uses digital networking in a systematic way to generate consistent results reliably and repeatably. Those results are finding your ideal investors, connecting with your ideal investors on a consistent basis, and converting them. Those are the 3 steps that your system needs to help you make. Find, connect, and convert. Let me tell you how I raised $3 million as an 18-year-old kid who barely knew how to speak English. So at 18 years old, I started a podcast interviewing modern kings. Modern kings are men who work on becoming the best they can be across all areas of their life and achieve true freedom. I talk about true freedom. I talk about mental and physical freedom, emotional and spiritual freedom, sentimental freedom, and financial freedom. Someone who has all of that is a modern king. And I spent over 2 years running this podcast, and I used it to connect with, learn from, and interview over 250 modern kings. And I built the Modern Kings Network. So I spent over 2 years connecting with men like Anthony John Amix, Nick Alfano, who helps other business owners exit their companies, James Nielsen Watt, 8-figure entrepreneur, Raul Meek, 8-figure entrepreneur, Cody Jefferson, 8-figure entrepreneur, Jefferson Rogers, 8-figure entrepreneur, Jeff Lerner, $100 million entrepreneur. So I spent over 2 years connecting and interviewing with over 250 of these very successful men, modern kings, and I built a massive network. Every single one of these podcasts is a connection that I've made, a podcast that I've done with these men, right? And inside every single one of these folders, you can find this. You can find a bunch of content, right? So for Jeff Lerner, we can find the thumbnail, we can find clips, we can find social media stories, we can find clips, reels, and everything. And this is how every single folder is set up. We can find the clips, the reels, the posts, the stories, all of the content, right? All of the copy for every single piece of content. And for example, with Raul Meek, here's the thumbnail, here's the post, here's the stories, here are the clips, and here are the stories for Raul Meek. And this is what I have for every single connection that I made. So how did I become a real estate investor in capital raiser though? Well, one day a real estate developer approached me and said, Alex, if you can bring $3 million into our hotel development deal, you can be owner and have equity. I didn't know, how I was going to do that. I could barely make a living at that time. I thought he was crazy. I was like, what do you mean, man? I can't do that. And he said, yes, you can. I've been following your journey for the past year, and I've seen all the amazing people that you've been connecting with, creating content with, and the network that you've built. So yes, you can. I'll show you how. Long story short, 6 months after that, I was able to bring in $2.8 million, and I got equity in the hotel development deal. Now, I repeated the process multiple times. I am 23 years old, and I have equity in 3 hotel developments, right? So the way that I was able to do this was because I spent over 2 years building a massive investor network of my ideal investors. This is very important because the network that I built was made of my ideal investors, modern kings, people with an alignment of values, vision, and beliefs. These people were not random people. They were my ideal investors. And I added value to them. Just by having values, vision, and beliefs that are aligned, that builds trust. And I added value to them. I continued the relationship and kept on building trust. And this is what our system revolves around, right? So this is the road that we will travel. And to travel this road, we use a vehicle. That vehicle is a podcast. You won't become a podcaster. You're just going to use a podcast as a digital networking and capital raising tool. So the first step is identifying who your ideal investors. The reason capital raisers fail is because they're looking to raise capital from people, but they don't even know who they're looking to raise capital from. So that's why the first step is identifying who your ideal investor is. This is a done for you service. Once we do that, we find those ideal investors for you and we connect them to you. Over the next 6 months, we can help you build a massive investor network of 50 to 100 of your ideal investors, making it impossible for you to not raise capital. And ideal investors, people who meet your criteria and requirements. And since you're using a podcast as a digital networking and capital raising tool, you also end up with 50 to 100 podcasts that we optimize, multiply, and distribute for you. So optimize means make them look good. We create your logo, your branding, your intro, your outro, edit every single interview, multiply that into a bunch of clips, reels, posts, stories, emails, thumbnails, and distribute all of that for you without you having to lift a finger. So all of your podcasting episodes will go on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, We'll distribute your clips, reels, posts, and stories on all social media platforms, and we build an email automation for you. This is how we build credibility, authority, position you as an expert, increase your investor exposure, enhance your brand, and this is how we get you to the finish line of building a massive investor network and raising millions of dollars. So this worked for me once, but it's working for me again. Right now, I'm building the modern real estate investor network. So I'm building the same kind of network, but just in a more focused way in the real estate investing niche. So I'm connecting again with dozens and dozens of very successful real estate investors, and I'm building a massive network of real estate investors, right? So I'm doing it again, and I have a bunch of folders now, right? Every single one of these folders is a connection that I've made with a successful real estate investor. And inside every single folder, we can find clips, reels, posts, stories, thumbnail on YouTube, thumbnail for the podcasting platforms, copy for the episode, for copy for clips, reels, the 2 emails that we write for the email automation, and the link to the episode. So for Jasmine Salinas, this is how it looks like. So we have the thumbnail, we have the post, the stories, the clips, the reels, and a bunch of content. Another example, Mark Monroe, right? So we have everything, again, clips, reels, posts, stories, emails, copy for everything, and all of that, right? So for Mark Monroe, here's the thumbnail, here are the posts, the stories, the clips, and the reels. And this doesn't just work for me, though. Right now, we're working with a client. His name is Ivan Alfaro. He's working on the Tech Developer to Real Estate Developer podcast. We've been working with him for about a month and a half. And in a month and a half, we've connected him with about 7 people. That may not seem like a lot, but these are high-quality people, and we're just getting started. The first one was with Scott Kidd, right? So inside this folder, we can find, again, the clips, the reels, the posts, the stories, and all of that content. We can find all of the copy for every single piece of content and the link to the episode on YouTube. So this is how it would look like, right? For Ivan Alfaro, his first episode was with this guy. So here's his thumbnail for YouTube. And we did everything. We do the branding, we help with the pictures, the logo, we take care of everything, finding, connecting you, and converting. And here's the thumbnail, here are the clips, here are the reels, here are the, post and stories, here are the clips and reels. And then what's amazing to me is this. A month and a half ago, this client didn't have any of this. He didn't have a podcast, a platform, a YouTube channel, any branding. He didn't have any of this. And all of that is cool, but let's talk about the results. So in under a month and a half, the results that we've been able to help Ivan generate is so far, out of the 9 connections that we helped him make, 7, he's already landed 2 capital investor partners. So 2 people who are going to bring in capital, one who's going to be coming in as an LP, and another one who's going to be coming in as a co-GP, right? But raising capital is done. So another really cool win that he has gotten is he's gotten invited to speak on 2 podcasts, the Real Estate Takeoff podcast and the Real Estate Underground podcast, both platforms with over 200,000 downloads. So far, in under a month and a half, with only 7 connections, the credibility, authority, expertise, branding has, investor exposure is through the roof. He's already been able to raise capital, and this is the type of results that you can expect. Another client, his name is Ivan Alfaro. He's running the Services Syndication podcast. We've connected him with 7 people so far. We've been working with him for about a month and a half as well. And the first connection was with David Bede, right? And every single folder looks like this. So with David Bede, we have the clips, the reels, the posts, the stories, the thumbnails, the copy for every single piece of content, the emails, and the link to the episode, right? So for this client, his podcast is the Services Syndication podcast. His ideal investors are service-oriented professionals because he has a military background, and those are the people who he can relate the most with, right? So that's why we're doing it like this. So here's the thumbnail, here are the posts, here are the stories, here are the clips and reels, right? And this is what every single folder contains. His first connection was with David Bede. So the amazing thing about this is that a month and a half ago, he didn't have any of this. But let's talk about results. So his first connection was with David Bede. David Bede is the owner of the Military to Millionaire Mastermind, and the Military to Millionaire Mastermind is a mastermind full of military people who are looking to become millionaires through real estate, right? And David Bede has a massive, when it comes to military people, he has a book. He has a massive platform with the Military to Millionaire with 59,000 members and over 250,000 followers. So imagine if your ideal investor were military people and we connected you to this guy. Just imagine that. Imagine if you got invited to speak on his stage, on his podcast, on his events, on his mastermind or whatever, right? So this is what we've been able to do for Cedric. So David Bede has also a Facebook group with over 64,000 members who are military people looking to become millionaires through real estate. Imagine if you had access to that and your ideal investors were military people, right? So I asked Cedric, how hard do you think it's going to be to raise capital now, man? And he was like, and that was on his first connection. We connected him with 7 more people now, and over the next couple of months, we'll connect him with 50 to 100 of his ideal investors. So I asked, how hard do you think it's going to be to raise capital? And he said, not at all. Raising millions of dollars in capital will be easy and simple. So I have a question for you. Do you want to get this implemented, completely done for you with only 2 hours of work per week? And I say done for you because we find regular investors, we connect you to them, we help you build a massive investor network with one of the 3 connection strategies, or with using the 3 connection strategies that we have, and we enhance your brand, position you as an expert, increase your credibility, authority, and investor exposure. So would you like to get this implemented? Right? Imagine if you got this implemented. Imagine what the next 6 months would look like. Imagine that you have a solid brand as a real estate investor in capital ratio. Imagine you have a legit platform with thousands of pieces of content posted all over the place. Imagine you have a massive investor network of your ideal investors, not just random people. And imagine you're raising millions of dollars in capital and you're taking down big commercial deals. How would your life be different? Just think about it. How much more money could you be making, right? How happier and freer would you be, right? Just imagine it for a sec and answer this question. Would you like us to help, right? If the answer is yes, Then the next steps are simple. You need to apply, fill out 7 questions, and schedule a capital raising strategy session so that we can go a lot more in depth into how everything would be implemented and how everything works step by step. So if you think this is a good fit for you, if you think that this could help you get to that next level, raise millions of dollars in capital consistently, and take down big commercial deals that are 30 units or more, the next steps are simple. They're clicking the link below to go to the next step. Once you click the link below, or we send you the link and you go to the next step, you will go to a page that looks like this. Right, so in this page, you'll be able to pick your time zone. And then once you pick your time zone, you'll be able to pick a date and time for your capital raising strategy session. Once you do that, you'll be able to go to the next step, which is filling out the application. So the next step would be filling out your name, email, and phone number, and 7 questions, right? But there's some important notes that you have to take into consideration. We get high volume of real estate investors who want to book with us and who want to learn more about our system. So if you want to be considered, you need to make sure that you answer the questions as best as you can, because that lets us know that you're serious. You also want to show up to the call on Microsoft Teams. So download it on your phone or on your computer, but be ready and make sure that you show up on time on your computer in a proper environment. Failure to follow instructions will end up in call cancellation. So if you half-ass your application, we'll cancel the call with you. If you can't invest in yourself right now and set up a system completely done for you to help you raise millions of dollars in capital, we can't help you, so we'll cancel the call. And if you're not on time on your computer and in a proper environment, we will cancel the call as well. So if you think this is a good fit and you would like to get on our vehicle to travel this road and help you build a massive investor network and raise millions of dollars in capital, get you out there, get you to enhance your brand, build credibility, authority, increase your investor exposure, and all that good stuff, then let's go on to the next steps. Click the link below. Ask one of our representatives for the link to book a call and apply, and I'll see you later.